Got it. Where's the meter? Right here. Security. I don't want them to talk. I don't want them to start the video. So I allow them to chat. I want to project on Facebook. What is that? Class number 3, right? 3. What is the class today entitled? What is the class today entitled? No, come on. That's a heavy file. I want to close that file. What's the class today entitled? Profession of faith, I believe. Where is it? Where the heck am I? Okay. Public time live on a page. Okay. Live. Okay. I guess I'm on it because I have to log into the meeting before people can log in. Okay, that's good. Okay. Come on in, Emma.
Hi. Everybody's sitting here like sit silent.
We're waiting for the.
No, you don't have to be silent. You can talk. They can hear you. Okay, that's good. So that we project them over there. Let's wait for a moment. Good. They see us. And later on, I can share the lesson. Very good. You see, that's a problem with that. I opened that bit file. Let me close all these things.
Oh.
Good. Okay. I guess we are doing good. We wait for a few more minutes. We're gonna start on time, okay? And that is that. So this is projected live. All right. We wait for a few more minutes. We gonna start. So how you doing?
Fine, how are you?
I'm dead.
You're dead?
Yeah.
Well, you look pretty good.
I'm good up for that body.
You haven't started to rot.
It will be coming after about 4 hours.
Oh, I'm glad I want to be here. Yeah. What are you drinking? Tea?
What am I drinking? Bitter melon.
Who?
Bitter melon.
Beetle.
Bitter. It's very bitter.
Oh, bitter.
Yeah, it's bitter. Just for my cholesterol to go down.
Oh.
And my blood pressure.
I'll give you one of my.
I deal with you guys, so my blood pressure have to rise.
I got high blood pressure too.
I do too.
That's a good reason for me to leave. So my blood pressure go down, your blood pressure go down.
No, I just take a pill.
Yep.
God is good.
Yes, he is.
Man, this witness is with heart. Because I have to get up at 5:30 to go and do the mass for the Carmelite sister.
Oh, wow, you're good. Yeah, that's nice. That's a good
And
boy.
plus we have a sprint forward. So it's really dark. You know. So it's really dark. Even when I get there before 7 o'clock, it's still dark.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Because they sprint forward.
Oh,
So
they want to keep it like this.
yeah, so when I get out of their mass, then that's when so it's tough.
Yes, it is.
Because nobody want to touch the wood of the St. Patrick's.
You're doing it all week.
Yeah, I cover the whole week.
Where do you go?
On the Black Street,
White Bluff, all the way.
White Bluff, all the way at the end of the river. But you don't want to come in, late because it's all traffic.
Oh, yeah, it's rough in there. I know when I have to bring her into the doctor. I make your appointment later. You get all the traffic.
Okay, shall we begin? All right. It's 10 o'clock. Let us begin in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. We thank God for the gift that we share, particularly for being here today. As we continue on our journey of learning, knowing, understanding, and hopefully loving Him more. St. Augustine said that we need to know Him in order to love Him. And in order to love Him, we need to know Him. So that comes together. Help us to open our mind today to understand Him, open our heart to love Him. And when knowing Him and loving Him, we may serve Him faithfully. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen. Amen. Okay, and the last class, we learned a little generic things about that. I have one question. So before we go to the next one, I would put the question up here. And then we do that. And for those who follow online, that's why we do Zoom. Let me go into here and share the where do I go share, sister? Share where? Oh, share screen right here. Okay, here is the question. Am I on share screen right now already, right? You are now share screen. Okay, good. Let me see if I show up on the share screen. Okay, they share. Oh, good. Okay, so the screen is shared. Okay. Okay, the question last week I was talking about man's, the purpose of man's life on earth is to know and to serve God. And God, out of His infinite wisdom, out of His free will, created man to be happy. And we cannot be happy until we find God. Our true happiness lies in God. The reason why we cannot be totally happy until we find God is because our source of being is in God, in His image and likeness. So one of the questions posed was, in what sense we are like God in His image and likeness? In what sense? And I think it's a nice question. What sense? It's gonna be like Diana, who's white hair, and that question also related to our resurrection of the body. When I rise from the dead, what kind of body I be rising up? Am I rising up like 20 years old macho man, six-pack, handsome and beauty, or I'm gonna rise up at the 80 years old, oversized? You know what that? But you just see so that. So in what sense do we image and likeness God? And I think that's a question. And it came, and I quote it here, you can see, and God said in the book of Genesis, let us make man in our image. Man is mean mankind, in our image and likeness. And God created man in His own image. To the image of God, He created him, males and female, He created them. So the question is, in what image and likeness are we created? Are we talking about the physical image? First of all, we can see, and I quoted here for you in John 4:24. John said, God is spirit. So we are not talking about the physical appearance. Because physical appearance here, we look at just the people sitting here. We have a lot of different physical appearance: black, blue, green, yellow, tall, brown eye, blue eyes, and different. We are not talking about that kind of image we look in here. So in what sense are we doing that? Some of the people you guys grew up, well, like Diana grew up in a sense of the old pre-Vatican II. In that sense, you talk about the three quality we are looking and knowing God existed: the good, the truth, and the beauty, right? The three sets. You're talking about that. Or you can talk about the intellect. You want to talk a little philosophy term here. The intellect, the will, the free choice, right?
Yes.
So that's what are we talking about. We are more like God in that sense. Of course, first of all, we need to understand all God creatures reflect God's image some way and somehow, because they all came out from God, right? They all came out from God, from the moon, the sun, the tree, the animals. They all some way somehow relate to God, reflects God's image. Okay, not just a human being, all God creature. That's why St. Francis of Assisi called brother moon, sister sun, brother wind, sister rain. They all, because they are God creature, by his word they came into being. So it's not just the human being are God image and likeness, but we are in a very special sense created in God's image and likeness beyond all the creature, because we have the intellect, the freedom to choose, know between the right and the wrong, and choosing it. So in that sense of image, so I said it here. So we are in God's image. We resemble, however, primary in our spirit, not the physical appearance. And what does that mean? So I said it here. That's why St. Francis said the brother sun, sister moon, brother wind, sister air, all this. But however, the book of Genesis makes it clear the way that man is created in God's image and likeness, which is differentiated us from the rest of God's creature. And some of God call the truth, the true, and the beautiful. But in a philosophy language, we call the Catechism. Later on, we get to that. Number 356 talk about we have the ability to know and to love.
That's right.
They don't. Now, some of you may say, "Well, my dog do." They don't have that ability of know and love the way we are. They are unconditional. They're conditioned. You train them in that way, they react to that sense. They don't have that sense. Okay, so that one. And then that's the number. We have the knowledge of love. We know and we love. And number 357 here, the same thing. We have the capable of self-knowledge, of self-possession, and freely given ourselves. So those are the things. So in another way, with the image and likeness of God, we are created to love and to recreate it, and to truly to know, to choose the good. And of course, at the same time, we can choose the bad on the vice of that. So basically, how are we mirrors God's image and likeness? I summarize it here. The human person can mirror God in a manner of we know, understand, love, and do good. Isn't that go back to the purpose of mankind on earth? We're not here just to be good and do good, to know, to understand, to love, and to do good, to serve God. Isn't that go right back to that? And that's how we are created in God's image and likeness. Make sense? Okay, so that is to answer the previous class question. Okay, that is to answer the previous class question. So let me close this window. Now I need to go. Your screen is paused. Why did I pause it, sister? How did I pause it? They tell me that I paused. I just did.
You want to share again or not?
No, now I want to share the new lesson.
You just
Share.
double click that.
Double click it.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm sharing this one now. Okay. Okay, so we go to today's lesson. The last time when we talked, let's just summarize it briefly because there's a gist on our thing, so you wasn't there. The Catechism of the Catholic Church divided into 4 parts. The first part is the profession of faith, which we will learn about the creed. The second part is about the sacraments. Okay, the third part is about our worship. And the last one is about our prayers. So we start today on the part 1, the profession of faith. Okay, so we go into section 1, the I believe. Of course, they're still very generic. In the later class, we're gonna take one by one, and that's why I taught in the confirmation class. We took the I believe in God the Father. We're gonna start one by one, and we gotta understand because that's what we say every Sunday. But I think we just skip through it and not having a clue what are we saying and what are we believing. Okay, so as I said, I am not gonna read every word with you. Okay, we're gonna throw it out, teach about 15-20 minutes what I truly believe, and then we discuss and you throw in the question. So today we're gonna try to go between number 26 to 35. Okay, so we say believe. What the heck is belief? You know, I believe. I believe. We hear that word all the time. Believe. Do you believe in God? Oh yeah, I believe in God. I take Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. We hear that a lot. So what is believe? I believe. Come on.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of another word.
Yeah.
We were just taught from when we were little.
Yeah, I know, but what it mean by when we say I believe? What the word believe?
It's truth. It's the truth.
So believe means what?
To me, I believe is I accept.
You accept something told you, okay? You accept something being told to you as truth. Okay, what else?
You have to know about it to believe it. You can't believe in something you don't know about.
Okay, so you know something that you don't see, and you accept that as a truth, okay? What else? Because the head of this topic is belief. So, you know, we say, well, I believe in God. I believe in the Trinity, you know.
I have to learn.
And this is what a lot of the atheists tell us. And when we hear that, we struggle and we say, oh my God, how do I do that? It sounds good, but for educated people, I tell them that is stupid. I wouldn't call it, well, I don't tell them stupid, but I told them it's very unintelligent propose or premise. They say, well, you know what? I don't believe in God because I don't see him. So if you can prove to me that God exists, then I believe. It sounds pretty good, isn't it? Mm-hmm. But here's what it is. You don't know what you're talking about because the word believe means that something that you don't see. Mm-hmm. Now, if I prove to you that God exists, I don't need you to believe because you already see it. Got it? So in your statement, you already contradict yourself. Well, do you believe that I have $3,000 in my pocket? You see this whole stack? Or if you show me, then I believe. No, if I show you I have 3,000 believe, I don't require you to believe. Am I right? You don't need to believe. Because you already saw that. Now, if you don't believe, then you are the one who have a problem because you already see it. You saw it. So belief requires something that leads you to accept something that you don't see. If you already saw it, I don't need you to believe. So your statement doesn't make sense. Am I right?
So faith is part of it?
Faith is part of that. That's where we will get to that. You see, for example, okay, that person is very intelligent. Well, I don't see that person intelligent. So therefore, based on, so if that person doesn't show me that person intelligent, I think that person is stupid because I don't see it. How do I believe that person intelligent? You see what I'm trying to say? So belief requires something you don't see.
Accepting without seeing.
Exactly. Do I see your intelligence? But there are things that leads me to see your size of intelligence. Right? Maybe your IQ, maybe your decision making, maybe something that lead me to that point. But do I see your intelligence? I see your intelligence. I don't see my intelligence either. So this doesn't mean I am not intelligent. So belief is something that we take it and accept it as a truth, where even when we don't see. However, it must have something that leads us to accepting that one. As Jerry said, it's something that can be proven in a way or in a set of law we call circumstantial evidence. Right? We don't call that a hard fact evidence. But if Rick Rafter here as a lawyer, he could call that. But I could prove it in a way called circumstantial evidence. And Jerry talks about that. So belief is something that's related to faith. Right? It's a gift. But it needs to be open, received, and used. Faith is a gift from God, no doubt. I can give you a gift. Why do they stop share? Oh, no. Okay, still share. So it's a gift from God. So faith is a gift from God, but it needs to be opened by us. If I come and give you a car with a key, but the key is in a box and you never open that box, you can never use the gift. But even if you use the key, you have the key, but if you don't put the gas in, you can't use it. But even if you pour the gas in, you don't maintenance the car, you don't change the oil. After 20,000 miles, the car gonna break down. You still have to use the gift, put the gas in, and maintenance the car. So faith is a gift. Yes, but however, it needs to be unpacked, open, used, and share and maintenance it, and grow in order for it to be used. So if faith is a gift from God, but it's a man, we talk about in the first classes, respond to it by his own free will. Yes, it's respond to God, because who want to reveal himself, to give himself to us, the humankind. And that's why I outline it here. You see, supernatural is a light to search for that ultimate meaning of life. And they divide it into 3 chapters about this belief. Okay, the first chapter is how do we search for God? Man search for God, chapter 1. Then how did God reveal himself, how he come to meet us? Number 1, we search. Number 2, he comes. Number 3, and we respond to it. You see, 5, he comes and we respond. And that's back. We come to that. So we go to the first part, our desire for God. Now, this is quite interesting. We live in a culture, and America culture, we don't see it a lot. But if you travel to all the part of the world, you will see that they have the little gods everywhere. Am I right? In a quest, even you came from Puerto Rico. Even it's predominantly Catholic, but you can see that even in a Catholic culture, they had a little God that they believe that under the big God, Jesus Christ, they turn to. You see, so you can see that they would turn to the God, the God of the sun, the God of the moon, the God of this. They turn to, man is always in search for an ultimate being. Or if not a, then several ultimate beings, like the God of the sun, the God of the moon, the God of everything, like little God who in control of every little thing, who would help them. So that in the man's heart already have that search for a supreme being or several supreme beings who oversee every aspect of their life. Yeah. So that's in man's heart. Because man is created for it. Because man knows above mankind. So I don't know who said that, but they said that the problem with not the problem, the issue with the atheists is not that they don't believe in God, that there's too many gods that they don't know which one to believe in.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
I don't know. I think it's Cardinal Newman. No. That's no. Either it's Cardinal. What is the guy who convert from the Saint convert from Anglicans from England? Is that Newman? Cardinal Newman. Either Cardinal Newman or Bishop. The book I just gave you. Fulton, either Fulton or Cardinal Newman said that. The issue with the atheists is not that they don't believe in God, that they have too many little gods, that they don't know which one is the one true God. Yeah. So in their heart, they are in search for that. So the desire for God is already there in a human heart.
And before we knew about God, I mean, people have always worshipped something.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. They always, and that's why the Catechism in number 27 already agree with that. Not like this is now you start doing that. In the human heart, man's always searching for that. Now, even with your little kids or grandkids who say, well, I don't believe in God. Trust me, when they're in trouble, do they turn to any gods? We just heard that from our own witness, Chuck, this Sunday. Yeah. You see, when he said that, he turned to the God that he didn't even know. But when he in trouble, what did he do? He prayed. Yeah. Even the one who claimed there is no God, when they're in trouble, they turn to some God out there and ask for that. So the desire for God is there. The number 27 in the Catechism explain that to us. We always search and never stop searching for it. And again, Vatican II Council, Gaudium expressed, Gaudium said about that number 90 right there. So from those then, from that individual church, they begin to form different religion. A different group begin to form that, right? So if you believe in that same group, then religious group begin to form. But and the Vatican and the Catechism tell us, despite the ambiguities they often bring with them, but they do search for God. The intimate and vital bond of man to God is always there, no matter what. But that's what God do. Or that man can forget or reject God. God never ceases to call man to find him. Why? Because remember, the first lesson is very important. God, our infinite wisdom and goodness, out of his own free, create man to be happy. So therefore, man is part of God's goodness. So God can never let man be separated. He allowed man's free choice to leave him, but God non-stop calling man to be united with him. So mankind always have to try to call to go back with God. That is a non-stop calling. He never ceases to call every man to seek him as to find life and happiness. That's the true happiness. He talks about that. But the search for God demands man every effort, intellect, sound will, upright of heart, and the witness of others. Remember, that's why I began last year under discipleship. I began to encourage witnesses in church. Mm-hmm. Now, Catholics, we don't do that a lot. No. Protestant, they do it quite a lot. And that's why, Emma, I'm grateful for that. That's why I began last year. I began to encourage personal witness in church. It's encourage us. See, man search for God, but the church of God demands man every effort. 4 things in search for God. The Catechism says that Martino didn't make these things up. So when people say, why did you do it? I say, you go complain to the church. Don't complain to me. The church say that 4 things in man's search for God. Number 1, intellect. This means we have to study. That's why we do in this class. Number two, self-will. That's your will, not mine. I cannot control that. And number two, an upright heart. Again, that's yours. I cannot control that. And witness of order. That's what we try. That's what we try. And that's what we want all the people to say. And I've been grateful. The last two person who share witness in our church has been very good and touching.
Yeah. Wonderful.
I mean, Chuck this past week, I didn't expect that. But I mean, I for those who went to the 11 o'clock mass, any of you who went to the 11 o'clock mass, well, Emma, you went to all three. but those who went to the 11 o'clock, I made a comment at the 11 o'clock, which I didn't make at the other two because I didn't want Chuck to
Back off.
to feel.
Yeah.
But at the 11 o'clock, I told Chuck that I didn't make the comment at the other two masses because I want him to finish his talk. I said, you know, I sat up there and I see everything happen in church, even in my homily, right? I can see people lean, I can see people like, keep talking. I don't care. And you have to change your storyline. You have to change the way how you talk. And when Chuck began talking, you know how children know young people like, young kids are leaving their chair and moving forward like this. Because something that they could learn. I sit up there, I see. But I don't want Chuck to feel things and do differently. So I didn't make comments at the first two masses. So I met that at the last mass at the 11 o'clock. Teenager was like leaving their chair. And I can see parents feel the difference. And it encouraged them. That's what the Catechism tells us here, as well as a witness of others. And of course, we leave the witness by faith, by our way of living, but by sharing that. And Chuck was pouring his life and his heart out there this weekend. And this is what man search for God. The desire here, the Catechism tells us, it is number 30. God's demands that every man effort, intellect, that's what our personal, the self-will, upright of heart, and as well as a witness of order. And it was amazing this week. And I'm grateful for that. But it's not easy to stood up there in front of your church family and open your whole life like that.
Yeah. Especially when you put the gun to his.
Yeah. And tell them how did he turn around and all those things. It's amazing. I'm grateful. And so that's the first one. Man desire for God. Now we come to the second part. Now we come to know God. We desire for him. But how do we come to know him? We come to know him in two sets, the physical world and the human person. This is called the beauty. We see it around us, right? If you want to know more about the proof of God's existence, I recommend you can read this online. That's where I want you do it. The man named Peter Crabb, I think he passed now. He actually an atheist turned Christians turned Catholics. He teaches at Boston College. And let me, how do I share the new screens here, sister? Okay, Peter Crabb. Okay, Peter Crabb right here. Let me do this right here. Peter Crabb, existence of God. See, even I type here, it's already came out. Got it? You can search right online. It's free. 20 arguments for God existence. He's a philosopher. Okay, he's good. You want to debate with somebody or want to have some knowledge that to do now? The best of all. And actually it's free. He's amazing. Let me click on here, okay? And then I'm gonna go share, right? How do I do that, sister? I go to new share.
Yes.
Where do I click on here, right?
Yes.
And share.
Yes.
Okay, so you see it? The argument from change, argument from degree of perfection, the desire argument. I mean, he go on and he laid out argument after argument. He is the best. And it's easy to read to. Peter Crabb. Okay, that is his name, right here. See it?
Yes.
You can search it right online. I think he's the best 20th century and 21st century. 20th and 21st century. Easy to read, argument from miracles. Argument from the word and interact in the whole, argument from truth, argument from consciousness, argument from the origin ideas of God, argument from ontological, moral argument. He gives you those things, and it's just good. Peter Crabb. I think he passed now, but he must be very old. I met him in person many times. Tall, skinny man. Good man. He taught at Boston College. I always wonder because he taught at the Jesuits, one of the liberal Catholic school, Jesuit school.
Yeah.
But man, he's good. He's absolutely good. Okay, so that's where from the beauty. So that's where I do that. And actually, he has most of these things on audio too. You can listen to it. You don't have to read. Even nicer, isn't it? So that's where it is. So that's where I suggest. Okay.
He's 84 years old.
What's that?
84 years
Okay,
old.
He's 2 years older than me.
Okay, but I mean he's good.
And younger than me.
He's good. He's a philosopher. So that's where I suggest. Okay. Let me go back here. So now I need to go back to sharing,
Is he
right?
married?
I gotta go back here, correct? And share, right? Okay, let's go back there. From physical word, the Catechism give us a little idea here. Okay. Paul said it to the Gentile in his letter. For what can be known to about God is plain to them, because God have shown it to them ever since the creation of the world. His invisible nature, namely is his eternal power and deity, has been clearly perceived in the things that have been made. So basically, what we see there, from there, we can lead it to believe. But Peter Crabb lay out argument. How can we see that and lead us to understand that? So basically, there are two things we can come to see God, to know God existent: word and the human person. The second part is the second person, and then the word and mankind. Okay? Now, the proof of God's existence, however, can predispose and make, I have no clue what the heck this word is. I have to look it up for myself. Yeah, that's why. See, what I don't know, I have to look for that. Predispose. We don't use that word in our daily conversation a lot, do we? Because I'd never heard of that. Predispose, to make someone liable or inclined to a specific attitude, action, or condition. I'd never heard of that word. When I read that, I say, what the heck is predispose? Wants to faith and to help one to see the faith that is not opposed to reason. So basically, in this lesson, we have to see the two important things. The first one is our desire, the human desire to know God. And it's instilled in our heart by God. By what? By the nature of God's creation. By we are created in his image and likeness. So we are always in search for him. Sometimes the search for God, because of our free will, lead us away from God. Because we find God in the wrong place. Because we don't look for God. We look for the God that pleases me. The God that we create, not the God that created us. You see what I'm trying to say? So we look for the God that I create, not the God that created me. You understand what I'm trying to say? Basically, I look for the God that fit me, not the God that I fit in. Basically, what I'm saying is I look for the God like I'm looking for the car that fit me. At this age, I want this car that have this feature. So if I'm going to eliminate the God that doesn't have those features, so I'm going to look and create the God that fit that. And that's why we couldn't find the true God. We find a false God. And then because it's the false God, then we come to realize that, oh, nah, there's no God in our life. So in that church, that's why the church reminded us that even deep in our heart, we look for God, but we may not be able to find him. Because we set out to find a God that fit me. We have to realize that he's the one who creates, so we have to look for the God that created us. And we have to try to find the true happiness in that God. How do we find that God? The church recommends us to find that God in two places. We can use 4 ways to find that God. By the intellect, a sound will. I always wondered what the heck is a sound will. It's been a will that is open, right? It's a will that is open. An upright heart. What is an upright? It's not a downhill, right? No, what is an upright heart?
Righteous one.
A righteous heart. What is a righteous heart?
A good one.
What is a good one? You mean a heart that beats 80 beats per hour? What is a godly?
Oh, you stop.
No, I'm serious. I want to be an example. What is a
clean heart?
A clean heart.
Yeah.
Well, a clean heart is a heart that center on goodness of God. Remember about a few, right before I took off for vacation. I gave 2 weeks before that, to be correct, if you remember. No, you don't. I gave the homily on, actually, I lead to that homily on the weekday mass. What made a things good? What made a things good? Any of you remember? What made a things on the season good? Because it is the what of God? A will of God. It may not look good, taste good, smell good, but it is good because it is the will of God. A thing is good when it is a will of God. We look into the Bible. We look into our own life. There's a lot of things that we didn't want to do, but it turns out to be good because it's the will of God. Sometimes our own sickness. Mary's pregnancy wasn't good. Their movement from one place to another wasn't good, but it is good because it is the will of God. So an upright heart is a heart desire the good things. And the good, that doesn't mean it is the thing in itself is good, but it is because it is the will of God. And I said it I think yesterday or last week homily. That is what God tell us, that he can, if want something on your body that causes you to sin, cut it out, throw it out. Except one thing, God didn't tell you to change. He said he do it himself. His heart, your heart, my heart. He didn't tell you to cut it out, throw it away, huh? He said he's gonna do it. He's gonna cut it away, but it's not gonna be you. It's not gonna be me. It's gonna be he himself. It's gonna be he himself that he will change that heart. Take away your stony heart and give us this heart. So 4 ways we can find God. I mean, we can use our effort to find God. Is to have an intellect, which means we have to use our intelligence, which means we have to read, we have to listen. We don't. We spend too much time doing all the things. When it's come to study about God, I don't have time. We spend a lot of time on TV, on radios, on reading a lot of things. A sound will is mean an open mind. We normally don't. We come to that with a closed mind. This morning, last night, actually, I don't know who touched us. Emma, you was on that touch. A person touched you and me and Yvette car.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Yvette and I are friends with Rosemary.
Oh, that's Rosemary. Okay,
Rosemary.
that's Rosemary. Because I don't have her.
Yeah.
Rosemary touched us.
Rosemary Miles.
Oh, that's Rosemary Mine. Okay, because it's just say Rosemary and say who's Rosemary. But anyway, touch us. And then Yvette replied, and Yvette said, oh, I listened to Father Martino's homily. So I don't listen to the whole thing, but I do listen and remember that. But that's what it is. But that's what intellect, a sound will, an open will. Sometimes we just close our mind. We just, if that person opens the mouth, I'm done. I don't want to hear. We've seen that in our life. I don't want to hear that person. And as a priest, I have to admit, I do sometimes the same with some parishioner. And sometimes it's wrong. No matter how bad or how good that person is, that person always has something to teach us. But sometimes it's just us. Cool. I'm done. I don't want to hear.
Kills you.
Right? And we do that. That's the sound will. We do that. Sometimes to our children too. We just don't want to listen. Because you hurt me so much. I don't want to hear. No, I don't want to hear. And that's a sound will do. It means you have an open mind. And to God it's the same. How often we have heard people and telling us that the church hurts me so much that as soon as I hear the word church, Catholic church, I'm done. I'm out.
Sad.
As a priest, I have heard that very often. As soon as I hear the word God, I'm done. Because why? Because people, number 4 here, as well as a witness of order, the people in the name of God, in the name of the church, have hurt me so bad.
What do you say to this?
To those people who have been hurt by the people use the name of God in the church, I don't say to them. I actually start out without using the name of God and the name of the church. I start out talking to them as a human to a human. You don't come to them as a name of the church or the name of God. So the sound will, we have to be open. And then the upright heart, a heart full of love, a heart that desire for God. And then the witness of others. I think that I have to admit that this is a small church, but I think we do pretty good on that. We are not perfect. Well, there's no church is perfect, but of all the churches that I've been through, I think we pretty good on that. Not that we are to that perfection. We can always have room for improve, but I think we're doing okay on that. And that's our point. But we can look at what we can do on our own. But we can look to see God through 2 things. The things around us, the word, and the human person. The physical world around us and the human person. And you can see these 2 extremes on the word right out there now. Some of them care way too much about the physical world, but totally ignore the human person. You see that, right? Some of them care too much about the human person, but way who cares about the word. Isn't that great? The church tells us it's both. It's not just one or the other. In both of that, we found God's existence. Both the word and the human. So we need to care for both, because these way of approaching God from creation, we have twofold point of departure. That's where we can see God and found God in both of those things, the word and the human person. This is the Catechism. This is not Martino speaking here, people. But no, they just take one end out and they took that flag and they ha 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 ha, and the other took the other flag and run the other way. And guess what? And then 5 years later, they turn around and they fight the heck out of each other. One took the other flag, run the right. The other one took the other flag, run the left, and they fought each other. Why don't they just work together? And that's where God wants us to be. Last but not least, before I conclude this lesson, man's faculty made him capable of coming to the knowledge and existence of personal God. Personal, Catholic. There's one Protestant sitting right next to me here.
Yep.
That's good.
She loves us.
But Catholics, we have this huge problem. We have a community God, but we don't have a lot of personal God. Am I right? We worship God as community. We go home, we pray personally, but in some way, somehow, we don't have that personal intimacy with Him. Ooh, that's where I'm about to block it out for you. Can you see it? For men to enter not only intimacy, but real intimacy with Him. Got it, people? Not only intimacy, but a real intimacy. This is, we don't have to go steal from somebody. If we read the Catechism right here, we have to enter into come into a knowledge of an existence of a personal God. For man to be able to enter in a real intimacy with Him. And that's why I do the knots. I didn't want to give them out from the beginning. Catholics are very good at asking others to pray for them, which is good. I like that. But they like others to do the job for them. They themselves don't do it. That's why I didn't want to give it out from the beginning. I want them to do it first, and then they bring it here and we pray. You got it? That's why I wait for that. And I say, no, and then you take it home and I'll print it here. I don't know if I stress it out clear enough, but that's my whole point of doing that. When I tell people I'm going here and there, I'm open for intention. They always like, oh, pray for me. This. And I say, and what the heck are you doing? So basically, you just say, hey, Father, yeah, here's the list. Do it for me. And what the heck are you doing? So I say, I'm not going to do anything for you unless this is what you need to do. You're going to say, Father, I am going to do this in communion with you so you can offer that for me. What are you going to do? So when people always ask me this, Father, would you be open for community, what is that, prayer of the faithful? People add their own intention. I say, I do. But if I only do that after I teach them how to do them right. For example, pray for my uncle who have cancer today. Oh no, that's a terrible prayer. But of course, pray for your uncle. You see, Diana, why is a terrible prayer? Your uncle who has cancer is a good prayer. But it's a terrible in a way. You're so selfish. The prayer should be like this. For my uncle who have cancer and all those who dealing with cancer today, we pray to the Lord. How that's happen?
I do it the other way around.
Or who have cancer,
Especially
my uncle or my aunt. It's so selfish. Then you just pray for your uncle. You see what I'm trying to say? So now let me really honest. Do you see, if you see my crazy wife, people complain to me about that. My mass is for my uncle. Why do you do that? If you see when I announce mass intention, the mass today is offered for all souls in purgatory, particularly this soul.
Yeah.
If the mass is for somebody, I always add on all the soul. If the mass is for somebody good intention, I always say for the intention of the San Boniface family, particularly for the good intention of so-and-so. Have you seen I do that?
Yes.
And people say, oh, Father, but I asked the mass for myself. First of all, try to talk about that. By the way, when the priest offer the mass through two intentions, he always have to offer for. Number one, in communion with the whole church.
Mm-hmm.
So there's first intention. The particular intention comes later. The real intimate, a personal relationship with God here. So the last one before I do that, I want the Catholic to do that. Personal in a way of a communion. Even with American Western culture, not just American culture, we are very individualism. But even a Catholic in this country or in the Western still very collective. How do you say that? Not individualized. They still very collective communal. You go to Vietnam, oh shoot. They are not individual. They are collective. I'll tell you this. I say it all the time. When you talk about, I made this suggestion all the time. Churches in Vietnam are like 4,000 or 5,000 people. How big is your church in your home parish? 10,000?
No, 25,000.
25,000 parishioners. Okay. How the heck are 25,000 parishioner church? Every day, how many hundred people go to daily mass?
500.
500 people go to mass, daily mass. Okay, is that amazing? How the heck in that big church you cannot have a 24-hour adoration? You know why? Because people, if they do adoration, they have 5,000 people show up, but they don't do it individually because they like to do it together. You got it? If they have a holy hour, they would come there and sing the whole hour, but they wouldn't have spent 10 minutes in quiet and talk to God.
They like people seeing what they're doing.
Yeah, I couldn't say that, but they like to do it as a community. They would do like celebration, but quiet, they don't
They
show up.
cannot keep quiet.
Wow.
Even during adoration. Yes, that they don't.
They talk the whole hour. They sing the whole hour. So people, when I go to Vietnam, people say, "Why don't you go to adoration?" I say, "I can."
Even Vietnamese right here, so they cannot.
That because I don't think they have that personal. They don't have that real intimate with God.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying you should have to be that all the time. It's a combination of both. But the personal relationship with God is important because I truly believe that the foundation of a communal relationship. Because when hardship hits, the personal relationship with God will keep you strong. The community will hold you, but the personal relationship with God will keep you alive. No doubt. The personal is important. But anyway, so my last ending is all these things, the relationship, the desire for God and this and that, it's all good. But the bottom line is you have to build that. And I think the Protestants do it good. They do it in a sense that they stress it too much, but the Catholic don't stress it enough.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's my whole point. And that's how I end this sentence. And let's do some chit chats, talks about that. And as I end this one. And if you have questions, you can email, text me. And then just like today, before the next class, I will answer the question you may have. But anyway, and that ends today's class. For next class, you will need to read from what number? Let me see. Number, let me see. Where is that, sister? We have some of those extra books. That's just too heavy. They just can't open it.
You can convert to the PDF.
My syllabus. I need to see my syllabus. Where my syllabus? Oh, right here.
19.
Okay, for next week, you will be reading from number 36 to 49. Number 36 to 49, lesson number 4, okay? Number 36 to 49, that will be lesson number 4, okay? And that's where we will do that.
I think we're in lesson 3.
Because the last week I do 1 and 2 together, okay? So that will be lesson number 4, number 36 to 49, okay? And if you need it, I can print out some syllabus for you. Now, next week, I am not going to be in town for the Tuesday, but this is what's going to happen. Sister, can you bring your laptop over here? And you can project this on here on the Zoom. So people, you can talk to me directly. So instead of I'm sitting here, you can hear everything from sister. And you, sister, have Zoom. So technically, you can talk instead of directly to me, because sister have Zoom, like me here. You see what I'm trying to say? So instead of my laptop, so it's your sister laptop, so you can talk and then I can hear everything and we can do live conversation. Instead of me, just basically I'm there, but you can hear everything. So sister will project them on and I will do that, okay? Okay, question, concern about the way how I teach and this and that. Are you worried, you concerned? Because I don't intend to just take every number and read. I like to outline things like that. Okay, there is a question here on the chat. How do I open this? Wait a second. Chat. How do I? Okay. Personal relationship like a coal on fire, but communion is like a whole lot of coal. Our fire of faith is kept burning longer with a lot of coal burning together. Isn't it right, Father? What's that? You didn't get it. Okay. Basically, this person who are with us say, okay, personal relationship like a coal. You know, you have a little a charcoal, a piece of charcoal. So charcoal, you need to have your own personal charcoal fire. If you separate your charcoal out, then you will be cold. You will be left off. So but you put your charcoal in with your whole community, it will keep the fire longer, stronger, better. Oh, yeah. But if your charcoal is not on fire, then you put them in there, then they will be like a rock. So it is a good analogy. Yes, it's a good analogy. But however, your charcoal have to be good in itself. You just cannot depend on order to light your charcoal. You have to keep your charcoal alive. Your faith have to be kept alive. As I said from the beginning, when I answered the question before that, faith is a gift from God that needs to be received, open, maintenance, and used. Because if you don't, it makes no sense. You can open if you don't use and you don't maintenance. You can use it without maintenance. It's gonna collapse. Just like as I use the analogy of a car. I give you a car with a key, but if you don't open the box, you can't drive the car. But if you open the key and you don't put the gas in, you're not gonna drive. If you pour the gas in, you say, oh, Father, use the gas. Okay, I pour the gas in. But if you don't change the oil, after 10 months, the car will burn out the engine. You still have to keep up maintenance. That's what classes on catechism and all the things. That's why the 4 things, we talk about that, right?
That's why when they closed the church for COVID, it just.
That's why the
just
4
about
things that we
killed
need to
them.
do it. You know, to know God, the intellect,
Yeah.
the sound will, the upright heart,
I just needed
the
everybody
witness
to
of
know.
others. It helps us to grow. Okay?
Mhm.
Anything else? Okay, all the concern, all the questions. Anybody? Go ahead. Yes. Okay, go ahead. There's no right and wrong.
We are human beings.
Uh-huh.
Both human and divine.
Okay, we participate in the divine nature, yes.
But we are not completely human or completely divine. So in order for us to grow and use all those 4 things, we need God's graces in us. Lots of God's graces. They don't come along, I guess.
Okay, okay. Your question is, we are not fully God and fully human, and we need to grow, and we need to ask for God's grace. I look at that in this sense. On our Saints' Day, I always use the word, you know, we always say that we become holier. And I always laugh at that in a sense. Technically, we always have to say that we actually return it. We don't become holier. God created us to be saints. If you look at that, we was born to be good, holy.
Mhm.
As you see, we get older, our confession list getting longer. Right?
Sure.
And then when we get older, it becomes shorter again.
Yeah.
But hey, heck, remember when we first communion, the 3 sins we commit. I disobey my mom and dad. Yeah, I missed my prayers, and I didn't listen to my, and I don't pay attention in church. That's our 3 sins. As we grow older, then we get longer. And then we pass, and I haven't get to that. Mine still getting longer. But I guess by the time you get to 70s, right, your list begin to get shorter. And by probably when you get to 90, you go back to like, I don't pay attention to church. You get back to, you know, then, and, you know, I don't listen to my children, and the rest I don't remember. All right? You go back to like your first communion. Am I right? Am I right, those things? So basically,
That's right. That's what we do.
am I right, Emma? Yeah. So basically, by our free will, we chose, instead of chose good, we chose wrong. And we push ourselves away from God. So we return into the root. God's grace is always there. I demonstrate on Ash Wednesday. God's grace is keep pouring. Through the sacraments and through all the natural things, we call that sanctifying grace. When you get to that part of sacraments on the second part, remember that on the second part of that, we will go more. On sacrament, God's grace keep pouring. It's us when we sin, we turn. So the grace is being poured outside of us instead of us receiving. So when we go to reconciliation, we turn ourselves back. So we receive in the grace. So, and then we receive it and we grow. And then when we sin, we turn again. But I will talk more about that when we get to the second part, when we talk about the sacrament and the effect of the grace on our life. And so, but that way we don't hear a lot when we talk about sacraments. Particularly the sacrament of confession. We more worried and scared when we grew up. And probably at your age, you were like panicked. And even the other day, I have one of the kids who came in. I missed the first confession. He gave a confession. He came in there and crying like a little baby. And his mom was like, don't worry. But he was like pulling like this. My goodness, if you pull in the kids and the kid, don't worry, Father is good, don't worry. So I say, okay, so Mom, would you like to go to confession first? So that, no, I'm not going. Now, what good is that? You pull the little kids in. And the kid is crying like a baby. I said, don't worry, father is fine. So father tried to make a good thing. Say, so mom, would you like to go first to tell the kids? Oh no, I'm not going. You like scare the heck out of yourself. And you tell your kids, don't worry. How the heck you can? Now you scare the kid 10 times more because father tried to make an offer to you. And then you say, oh, she was like, oh no, I'm not going. She's shaking her head like she just saw the devil.
I would have gone in even if I didn't want to confess.
I mean, I think she just react naturally. I mean, so I thought I was doing a good thing. I just said, Mom, would you like to go first? She was shaking her head like she just saw the devil. She said, oh no, I'm not going. And she was like, and I mean, the kids was like, so I go out now. I said, okay, don't worry. So you come in here. Would you like to be behind, or you want to sit in the back? And the kids was like, oh, father. And after that, and the kids was like, I said, so how is it? She said, oh my God. It's just okay, Father. It's not that bad. But I mean, the mother, I offered the mother, would you like to go first? She was like, just saw the devil. She's shaking her head as fast as she could. She said, oh no, I'm not going. And how the hell did you try to express to your child that everything is okay?
If the child confessed that she had adultery, I mean, I get a kick out of them. When they tell you, say, how was confession with father, their first confession? I told them I missed mass and I did adultery. Let's go back over those things.
Yeah.
I know we used to go.
At 6 years old, commit adultery.
When I was little, I would go to confession and then I wouldn't talk. I wouldn't do anything because I was so afraid I would commit a sin before I go to confession. My mother always knew when we went. I know, she said, you know.
I told Father about my confession. I told you the other day I went to Catholic school and we had nuns. I mean, real nuns.
Real nuns.
Against you, darling, but they were mean.
Yeah.
And
so the nun was mean.
Oh yeah, I mean, honey, you know, told the line. So, and yes, and I went, and the priest, our pastor, he was an old priest, not like this one. And he was old and he was big, like Father, excuse me, Father Lamb. Yeah. But anyway, and he sits in the middle, you know, and you had the confessionals on
one side.
Yeah. And so I was in there. I know this is hard to believe, but I was very, very shy, very quiet. And I got in there and I started, you know, because you had to learn the whole thing. Bless me, Father, if I have sinned, stole, and ate the sin, you know, all that. So anyway, and he couldn't hear me. So he opened the door and he said, come in here. Oh my God. And so I was shaking. I mean, you talk about a child crying. I mean, I was like, and he made me kneel in front of him.
Oh yeah, a lot of them do that because you have to come and kneel in front of their knee, in front of them. And the nuns saw me, you know, and I tried to come out of the confessional, go in and and so I told my you know, I disobeyed my parents, you know. We used to borrow each other's sins, you know, on the way going in. You borrowed each other's sin. What did you do? I think you cursed. Okay, I'll just. So I cursed too, right? So if you curse, I guess I cursed too. So you borrow each other's sin. Borrow each other's sin, and so I got out of the confessional, and you know, you're like this, and I'm walking, and that nun grabbed me, honey. I mean to tell you, and she brought me outside. So you just caused the nun to sin. Yeah. She said, what did you tell him? I didn't tell him anything. He couldn't hear me, you know. So I said, just he couldn't hear. Oh, she scared me as bad as a freak. That really puts a mark on you when you're yes. It's very traumatizing. Yes. Because it really, I think I'm gonna start doing that. I don't think I do it now. People believe me anymore. Yeah. I'm going to do it in the next church when I first come. Though. I mean, we have open, you know, we sit, but in those days, you didn't talk like this. I mean, like, because you were in a confessional and they slide that side, you know, the street. Yeah. Yeah. Oh. But when we get to the confession, I will talk to you about that. Did you know that the way how, I don't know why, but the whole word has been teaching us how to confess wrong, the formula, the whole word. When we get to the sacrament, I will tell you, the church never teaches us according to the rites of the church. the way how we confess the whole word. Doesn't matter what language how we. Like bless me, Father. The whole church has been doing it wrong. The whole world has been doing it right in the wrong way. The whole church, the whole world, doesn't matter what country you're in, has been doing the same way in the wrong way.
Because I remember when I went.
But that's how it is.
Him the first time I went, bless me, Father. You don't need to just sit down and talk to me.
Because that's not how the rites of the confession should be. Isn't that funny?
You learn all that.
But anyway, Emma, did you have any concern or question about today? Yes.
I have trouble understanding all the different numbers, all the way it's numbered in the catechism.
Let's just number by order.
I don't understand it.
That's all right.
What number, for an example? Give me, bring it over
For
here.
example, all the little numbers and then the big numbers and then the little numbers.
Okay. Okay. First of all, that's why the last. Okay. There's 4 parts in the catechism.
There's 4 parts.
Okay. The 4 parts in the catechism. Okay. Let me do this here. Okay. Let me open this one first. There's 4 parts in the catechism. The part 1 is a profession of faith. Okay. The part 2 is
my question.
My
question is all of these different.
That's what I'm trying to explain to you. Yes, okay. That's what I thought. Okay. There's 4 parts first, and then I go into the chapters and everything. So the best way is for you to look at the back. They will have it in the back where the things. Okay. So you to see the summarize of it. Bring it over here. I will show you. No, not that. Bring it over here. Bring the whole book over here. Okay.
I can't even get up.
See, he can't find it.
Then this one they don't. Okay.
I came close to understanding it at one point.
Right here.
But
okay. Okay. This one they put in the front. Okay. So there's 4 parts in the whole thing. First of all, you have to understand the part 1, the profession of faith, right?
Right.
Part 2, the celebration of the Christian mystery, that's the sacrament. Okay. Part 3, the life of Christ. You have to understand that first. So there's the 4 big parts they divide.
Okay.
The prayers.
All right.
In every part, they divide them into the different subsets. Okay. Subsets. So you have to understand that. So the profession of faith have section 1. Okay. And then that section 1 is I believe.
Yeah.
Okay. You have seen that. And section 2 would be the profession of the Christian that you study about the creed. You see. So far, so good?
Yeah.
And you would have to do that. So in section 1, they have the chapter 1, man capacity for God. Chapter 2 is man come to know God. So that's why they do that. And then under that, they have the sub under every part of that. They do that so that they can categorize for you to understand the different part underneath of that.
Okay. All right. Well, I find it very difficult.
And of course, because it's a big picture. It's the whole understanding of the whole Catholics.
You're not alone,
because without this, you would never understand anything.
Yeah.
So in order to, so that's why they have in brief, which means they summarize what the whole the heading for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so you read a book, they have chapters.
Yes, yes.
This is the chapter summary of a 4,000-year belief in this one.
Okay, well, that makes a lot of sense. But when I get in here and it's all these different numbers, then I get all confused.
Okay, the number here is just for you to preference paragraph.
Okay.
These number doesn't mean anything. It's only meant for you to go back to refer.
That's how you find things.
Exactly.
By the number.
For an example, when you say, for an example, by number here, just like when you say, okay, Go to John 3:16.
Oh, yeah, well, I have no trouble in the
So this
Bible.
number is exactly the same. Go to number 428, just for you to find number 428.
Part one.
Right. But then
No. The part is not that. Don't confuse her. No, that's not the same. You given the wrong number. So the number 458, number 23, number whatever I give it there, it's just like John 3:25, John 8:40. It's a number for you to find out. Within the catechism.
I don't have any trouble with that at all.
So see,
I just read the whole thing.
The little numbers are footnotes. If you
the little number are footnotes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
you go
the
to
little
that
number are
paragraph
footnotes.
and it's
The little
also
number are
footnotes.
footnotes.
Okay.
You see,
In
Okay.
other words,
so the big number are like just the number, like the
And
number in the
bold-
Bible.
it's bolded. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
the number, big number. Okay, the big number are just the number like, so you can find them. So I say, okay, open the catechism number 462. So you know that's the number you can go look for.
Okay, well, like today, we needed 29, 30, 31.
That is all
32,
correct.
yeah.
So for next week, I say you read number 30, what is that, 36 to 44.
Yeah.
So that would be the number, the big number here, you read that part.
Yeah. All right.
You see, so instead of I say you read John chapter 3, verse 25 to chapter 4, verse 8,
Yeah.
I would say those numbers.
Okay, well, that I've got.
Okay?
Yeah. Yes.
So those are the number.
All right.
So the number is there just for you to look at that. Okay?
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Good girl. Just read the whole thing.
Just read the whole thing.
And remember.
All right, and that's all for today. And hopefully I see you next week. Let me see. How do I end this meeting? No, first of all, I have to stop the share. And I have to stop the live. And then I end the meeting. I will see you next week at the same time. Okay?
But we won't be here.